impacting women today. Let's start the show with your host, Karen Pulver.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Grateful Goddesses. This show is on the road. I am in San Diego. I escaped the snowstorm in Chicago, apparently 15 inches. And I know in Canada, Toronto, it's also snowing. So everything that could possibly go wrong tonight, computer electronic-wise, has gone wrong. I could not do this podcast in my room because for some reason the plug wasn't working. I'm not sure. So I came downstairs to the lobby and I was talking to Lauren and it was too loud. So then I came here and I tried in some random room, and I tried to put my earbuds in and it wasn't connecting. So I might be on delay. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because when these lovely goddess guides, Michelle Marie, Tanys Coughlan, and Renata Zimmer came on, I said, what is going on? Because there has to be something else other than just things not working. And sure enough, Michelle Marie said this. Take it away.
Okay,
Michelle,
so we are at we are at the height of Mercury retrograde right now. So Mercury is just it's going to go direct tomorrow. So when Mercury starts to go from reverse to forward again, it becomes stagnant. And that's when we have tons of problems with our electronics and our communications and our everything. So it makes sense that we're all going through this.
Right. So bear with me. And if I freeze, I'll make sure that I smile. So I'll freeze with a smile. You know, what am I going to do? So like I said, the lovely goddess, I call them goddess guides. They have their names, Michelle Marie, Tanys Coughlan, and Renata Zimmer. They have a show just before Grateful Goddesses every Wednesday. If you follow them on Facebook and they'll type their info in the chat, you can join their show where you can ask questions on your computer and then they join us. It seems to be once a month and I'm loving it to answer questions that we have and also have discussion. One of the things I wanted to talk about was something that came up in what I call the after show last week. We were staying on after and they were not guests. They were, joining us in part of the community, the goddess community, and they stayed on. And we were just talking about the Archangels. And I have been learning so much from these ladies, just about asking our Archangels for help. And you can't, and so many other things spiritually. And my whole mind is just opening up to so much, and I'm learning so many incredible lessons. But in terms of Archangels, the couple things. I thought it was a religious thing. I don't know. I just thought, I'm Jewish. I can't really ask the Archangels, I don't know. And then Lauren corrected me and said, no, there is a Jewish part to this. And I also was concerned with, or kind of just questioning, well, what do you ask for? What does it mean to ask? Like you just wake up in the morning and you ask all of them for help, or do you ask them to help you get through things, or what is kind of allowed or encouraged to do? So first I want to share what Lauren sent to me, and it's actually a prayer. It's a Jewish prayer, and the translation is, in the name of Adonai, the God of Israel. On our right is Michael, angel of protection, or Michael, I guess. On the left is Gabriel, angel of strength. In front of us is Uriel, angel of light. And behind us is Raphael, angel of healing. And above us is Shechach. I'm not going to say this, Lauren, right? My Hebrew isn't very polished.
Shekhinah.
Shekhinah El, the divine presence of Adonai, God. So however you want to interpret the archangels around you, I found it so comforting because you're never alone. And Lauren mentioned that, that when she says this, she never feels alone. And it just made me just feel so warm and cozy inside. So I wanted to ask our goddess guides a little bit about that. Maybe Tanys, Renata, or Michelle, you just want to say a few words before we go into questions, which, by the way, if you have any questions you would like answered by these magnificent ladies, please type them in the chat and we'll get to you. So what are your thoughts on archangels?
Well, I can speak to that if you like. So for me, they are spiritual. They're spiritual guides, not religious. They show up in almost all religions in one way or another. They have been mentioned in, I believe, probably 90% of religious texts in one place or another. Just as you brought up the Archangel Prayer, Lauren, actually, I do that in some of my rituals, a similar one. And so what you're bringing out there, those archangels are actually responsible for the directions. Those 4 archangels are responsible for those 4 directions. And so when you're calling on them, it's really about calling them in to spend time with you. And so when you ask them for things, it's anything. Like, you ask them for help, you ask them for love, you ask them for support, you ask, it can be anything. And really, they're there to help us. That they love when we ask them for help. That is what their prime purpose is to be there for us. And they are so, so loving. When an archangel comes in the room and you actually connect with that energy, it's like, it's overwhelming love, what you feel. And so that is the benefit of having a relationship with your angelic guides. They're just overwhelming love. They're extremely high vibration beings. If you're sensitive to it, you can actually feel them come into the room. For me, they are so high vibration that they go from heat to cool feeling. So I can always tell when there's one like beside me. I get Archangel Azrael here. He and I have a contract. And so he comes and stands beside me here. And I actually feel cold on this side of my body and warm on this side. And that's because he's standing right here. So you can actually physically sort of feel them if you're sensitive to the energy of it. And they're just super loving beings, and really they'll be there if you need them. They're there super quickly. You just have to ask.
What is advisable, I guess, to ask? Anything? Like, if you're struggling, if you're in pain, if you don't know how to approach someone, like,
yeah.
Kind of when I ask for things, I don't want to like over pray. I sort of like, I'm so grateful for everything that I have in my life. So am I deserving of asking for something else, or asking for strength, or asking for,
Absolutely you are.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, absolutely you are. Of course you are. We all are. I always like the way Tanys puts it, is that we are of God. Like, whether you believe in the religious side of it or not. And I've gone sort of full circle with sort of the God thing. For me, there was a long period of time where I just refused to connect to that. But eventually I sort of felt like I had no choice, because the messages coming through, it was just too much to continue down that same pathway. But religion is not required here at all. Like, there is no religious component that's required in order for you to connect to the angels or the archangels. And we always defer to Tanys, because she's really got such a strong direct connection to the angelic realm. So she's our like resident expert when it comes to that. But I feel like you can ask for anything that you're struggling with. Anything. If there's no limitation on it, and no, you're not being greedy or inappropriate or ungrateful by making the request, because I always think about it like in these terms. If we're carrying a lot of baggage, right, whether we carry them within ourselves or we put them down and allow them to exist outside of our bodies or outside of ourselves, doesn't matter to the universe, because the universe is holding all of us. So the universe is already holding that baggage, right? Because that's within us. So it makes no difference to the universe whether we find a way to expel it from our bodies or from our beings, or whether we continue to hold on to them. It just makes our lives more difficult. So whatever it is that we ask of the light beings, higher beings, they're able to handle it. We're not putting a burden on them. If that makes sense.
Yes, they're not in the limiting adjunct, which is the human body. They're beyond this realm, where there is no time or.
Rochelle has a good question. How do you know which angel guide to ask for help?
Well, I pulled a card for you, Karen. So this is the Angel Tarot cards. It's by Radley Valentine. Okay, it's an excellent deck to work with. And the card that I pulled for you was High Priestess, and it's Archangel Haniel. Is that correct, Tanys? Haniel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it says, listen to your intuition, have patience, consider carefully what you want before acting. And so it even kind of looks like you. And Archangel Haniel is a goddess-like angel of grace and feminine spirituality, such as intuition and clairvoyance. Like a true high priestess, Haniel will act as your spiritual teacher and advisor to aid you in discerning which feelings and ideas to follow as trustworthy guidance. Call upon Haniel to increase your clarity and connecting to the angels. So there's your answer.
Excuse my ignorance. There's so many more angels out there. And it's not just, there's so many. So your deck has how many angel cards in it?
78.
Oh, okay. Can you repeat the name of the deck? Donna would like to know. 78 angels, and that's in addition to the ones that I mentioned.
No, they would be in there. So there's actually 2 quorums of angels. There's a first quorum, which are the highest angels. And then there's a second quorum, which is kind of like the backup army of angels. And so the ones that we all talk about a lot, you know, like the Michael, Haniel, Gabriel, oh my goodness, Metatron, Sandalphon, all of those guys, they're all in that, like the first quorum of angels. And that's, I believe it's 12 angels.
Do we think about it as the originals, kind of like the originals?
Kind of, yeah. They're kind of the original ones, or they're like the leaders of the packs kind of thing, you know. And then you've got your sorry, the OGs, the OGs of the angels. Yeah. And then you've got your second quorum, which are the ones like Azrael. I can't even think of them all right now. Sorry, they're all talking to me at once. I can't hear. So, but Haniel, you brought up Haniel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Haniel, no, I'm sorry. I was saying it's like the angels are like me, say me.
Yeah. So it's like too much. So we're just going to shut that down for a minute. Haniel is actually like, she is about she. So angels are actually dual energy, just like all of us. And so depending on what they're working with, depends on which energy they're bringing forward. So the Haniel energy that is being brought forward in that card is very much the female aspect. It's that intuition. It's that goddess energy. Haniel also has a male side, and that works with like the soul contracts and those types of things, the little sort of the more doing kind of energy than the female energy. So all angels have both sides to them. And so that's why there's some confusion. Sometimes you hear Gabriel as Gabriel, sometimes it's Gabrielle, because there's both sides of the angels. There is that, because they are energy, right? They're not like us where we have a definite sort of
like a gender,
physical gender, because they don't have that. They're angelic. It's a very different, it's a different feeling. So when, you know, the light that you feel from archangels is really pretty incredible. I went on an astral journey not long ago to the archangelic dimension, and
as you do
occasionally, and I normally they don't bring you in to the dimension. You kind of stand at a gate and you ask for your advice and all of that, even when you astral travel. This one time they brought me in, it was some special ceremony thing, and it is like incredibly bright up there. Incredibly, I say up there, but really it's all here, right? It's just a different dimensional frequency. So in that really high frequency, it's like super bright and nothing but love. When you have an archangel that steps forward into your field to help you, you will know because they will, when it's really direct. Okay, you need to trust though that they're always there. So even if you don't feel it physically the way I'm saying, keep in mind I'm sensitive to the energy. Even if you're not feeling that, you need to trust that they're always there. They're omnipresent. When you go to ask for something, you just need to think it. You don't even need to speak it out loud.
So I think what Rochelle was saying, if I'm correct, Rochelle, is like, how do you know which angel guide for you specifically at that particular moment to ask? So yes, Michelle Marie, for me tonight, that's the one for me to ask. But like So I know when I lose something, I always ask for Archangel Michael to help me find things. And I do find things. But that's kind of the only one that I have a real handle on is him or her, Archangel Michael. But otherwise, like, how do we know which one? Or do we just ask for help and that one will step in?
Yes. Yes. If you don't have a personal relationship with specific angels, just ask the angels for help. And they know what, they're all sorted out. They got the hierarchy going. They're figured out. They'll come in where they're needed.
Do we also have our own personal angels, like our ancestors? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those aren't necessarily angels. They would be spirit guides as opposed to angelics. Okay. Angelics, a big difference is the angelics have never been to Earth. They've never been physical.
Okay.
Right. So some of your spirit guides have been physical. So sometimes our ancestors, and you deal with this a little more probably, Renata, than I do now, but sometimes the ancestors are, they've been given special compensation to be a spirit guide. Most times they cross over and they go on to another lifetime. But sometimes when you see them with people, it's because they've gotten special permission to actually stay with them and be that person's guide for whatever reason. So they have a contract. Remember I was mentioning Haniel? He deals with those kinds of contracts. So that person would have had some kind of a contract with that person to stay with them. So that type of spirit guide, yes, they were here. Ascended masters are another type of spirit guide, and those have been here. They have been physical. And so they do understand what it's like to be physical. What it is that they've crossed over, they've ascended to this higher being state, but they've agreed to stay back and help us on our ascension. And so those guys know, sorry?
No, I said it's just fascinating. I just find it so fascinating and I'm learning so much, and go on.
So those are sort of the main ones that you hear a lot about, right? It's like your ancestors, which yes, you definitely have ancestors. When they come in, sometimes they just come back to visit too, right? They're not necessarily with them all the time. So sometimes you find that too, Renata, right? You're the medium as well. So when they come back, I find there's a difference in the quality of their energy. If they're just back like to say, hey, I'm okay, or whether they're a spirit guide, right?
Oh yeah.
How would you describe that, Renata? Like, what's the difference for you?
I feel like just their focus is different. Their focus is very different because there's a difference between them visiting and checking in and making sure that everything's okay and reassuring. That's more of I have stuff going on over there, but I'm just going to come by here and check in on you every once in a while, versus I'm deeply invested in you, like pretty much 24/7, and I'm watching over you and I'm just there. And also the guides tend to have very strong opinions and very strong, like, they'll come through sometimes quite strongly. Like sometimes I'll be talking to someone and their guides will literally be screaming, like, and I'll just be like, oh my God, okay, calm down, one at a time. So they get very like passionate about it and they get very personally invested. So that's kind of, it's a little bit of a different kind of an energy. And, so they're there and they're kind of planning out, they're helping to plan out the arc of this person's entire lifetime. So they're just very deeply invested over a very long period of time. And it does feel very different. But I think Michelle drew a card and she looked very excited about it. So I just wanted to give her a chance to.
Absolutely.
What's the
Well, I picked a card from the Ascended Masters Oracle deck, and this is another deck that I recommend. And I actually picked a card for you, Karen, and she's one of my goddesses. I picked a goddess came up for you, and it's positive change, and it's Parvati. And Parvati is the wife of the Hindu god Shiva, and she's a reincarnation of Sati, the first wife of Shiva, and there's a whole story behind that. But what she represents is nourishment, harmony, devotion, and above all, motherhood. So Parvati is with you, helping you on your journey as a mother right now. And she's offering her divine gifts and service as a mother goddess in your life. So I thought that was really good. And she says that positive changes are coming your way.
Oh, I'm so
Beautiful.
happy. I want to snap a picture of that after. So keep that aside because I'm going to snap that. It will be my screensaver to always remind me of that. So thank you. Okay, but we're going to start by if anyone has a question that these ladies can answer for you, you can type it in the chat to me privately, or you can type it to everyone. And we're going to start actually with Vanessa. So we can unmute Vanessa here. And if you, by the way, are watching us via Facebook Live or LinkedIn, or you'd like to, you need to just register at pulver.com, pulver.com, and you can be part of the live audience and we can answer your questions tonight. Okay, Vanessa, you're up.
Hi, this is, it's personal, but not personal because Tanys, well, all three of you have told me separately that my mom had requested to be one of my spirit guides, but listening to you tonight, and I'm glad she was given the okay to do that, is her role as my guide preventing her from doing anything beyond? No?
There's no time on the other
There's
side.
no time or space.
There's no
right?
time. So she's having a field day. She's having a good time. She's okay with this? Okay.
Everything is happening. So think of it like this. It's everything is sort of happening simultaneously. So the way that we perceive time here in our limited human bodies, we have to separate it out, like past, present, future. Oh, it's Jonathan. Let's admit him. But always excited to see our only male grateful goddess.
Yeah, we've got David on tonight too.
Oh yes,
And then
David.
we have
Here
Jack.
too.
Yay. But anyway, so so think about it like, so when we're on the other side, we do not perceive time is everything's happening simultaneously. There are also kind of like parallel realms and universes, and everything's sort of happening all at once. And our energy is kind of, I always think of the infinity symbol, like we're just infinite. So we can do a lot of different things in a way that would appear to us in our human form to be simultaneous, I guess, is the best way that I can put it. So no, she's absolutely not limiting herself. Mm-mm. She is very much actually fulfilling part of her. You guys have a strong soul contract, and I'm getting tingles on this. So that's just confirmation. You guys have helped each other. You've taken, so this is what happens sometimes too. Okay, more tingles. Oh, like downright chill at this point. Some of the archangels are visiting, I think. But like, oh God, this chills down my spine.
Tell him to take a step back a little.
Please. I'm gonna need to get my coat in a second. But thank you for being here. But so now I've almost lost my train of thought. But what I was going to say, I think, is just that we can take turns, and we often do when we have these soul contracts. We kind of, it's sort of like we're giving the other person a helping hand, and then the next go round they give us a helping hand, and that's kind of how it goes. We have these. It is. What? Who's saying that? Are you guys hearing that? Pause. Who? What?
They're muted. Go ahead.
Okay, I didn't know what was happening. A little
Mercury
bit
retrograde. Just saying.
It's not an archangel speaking. That's okay.
No, definitely not. But so it's fascinating the way that it works. But basically, the short answer to your question, Vanessa, is no, absolutely not. And you don't need to see. This is like, you tend to take things on that are speaking of baggage, carrying baggage, you tend to take things on that are not yours to carry. You don't need to worry about limiting your mother. Okay. Please don't worry. She loves being where she is, and she loves being there for you and being in your energy field, and just being able to look out for you and to support you. She feels grateful to be able to do that. It's incredibly fulfilling for her. It is not a limitation in any way, shape, or form. So please, no guilt allowed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other question I get a lot about that is, if they're coming, does that mean they're not crossed over? they're absolutely crossed over. Like there's a difference for me in how they appear. Whether if it's a ghost versus a ghost would be somebody trapped here. So if it's a ghost versus a spirit that is just come back to say hello, it's very different energy. It's much denser when they're stuck here. And so, 99% of the time, they're not stuck here. They've crossed over. And just to reassure you, Vanessa, your mom is crossed over. There's none, you don't need to worry about that piece at all. Okay. In fact, most people don't need to worry about that. It's not really something that happens. Your mom is crossed over. There's none, you don't need to worry about that.
I find that ghosts are usually here because of an obsession. I had one in my kitchen and she kept opening up cabinets. This was downstairs. And I find that ghosts Victorian that I used to live in because of an obsession out of my ex. I had one in my kitchen, and she kept opening up. And I went to a psychic and I said, what does she want? And she goes, she used to feed all the cats in the neighborhood and she's trying to open up the doors to feed the cats. So she's obsessed with the cats getting fed. And I'm like, oh, well, let's come in here and clear this out. So there's usually
a case of OCD.
Yeah, they get stuck in a feedback loop. So helping them release the feedback loop so that they can move on. Let's come in here and clear this out. So there's usually a case of OCD. Yeah, they get stuck in a feedback loop. So helping them release the feedback loop so that they can move on. Let's come in here and clear this out. So there's usually a
get really kind of creeped out by that too, but it's really nothing to get afraid of. It's just leftover energy sort of thing. It's really not creeped out by that too, but it's really not.
And the other thing to remember
afraid of,
it's like
it's just leftover energy.
When I first started,
it's really not creeped out by that too, but it's really not.
And the other thing to remember is
it's just leftover.
Right? They're just wandering around. So it's like going to the mall. You're going to have the odd angry one, but for the most part, they're just like us. They're just trying to fulfill their needs the same as we do. So it's really just energy at a different frequency from where we're at.
Yeah. And it's interesting too. I just want to
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that. Oh, okay, great.
Oh, okay.
I was just going to say that we don't necessarily have to we have the ability, I think all of us have the ability to connect to this, but like I, for the longest time, and even now I still block out. I have the ability to see them, but I don't love seeing them. So I sort of tend to block that out, and I'll just kind of see them in my mind's eye, not like actually see them, because I don't enjoy that. So I'll do it in my mind's eye, or I'll just go by claircognizance, like just the knowing, the sense of knowing, or just sensing them. But I don't necessarily love seeing them. So not all of us see them in the same way necessarily, or can choose not to see them in the same way. So just wanted to.
They can choose how we see them as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on from ghosts. Thank you for a bunch of asking questions. And the way we did it before, just because of the time, I think that between the three of you, if one of you really feels it for that person, and then we'll do the next person and then the other, whoever is left type of thing, and move that way. So Donna has a question about new kinds of dreams that she's having. Do you want to be more specific, Donna, or I'll unmute you?
Okay, I am muted.
Yeah.
So I had started this, I was reading something and I was inspired to do it. I'm going to do it. And it was like a self-inquiry with your soul. So having a conversation with my soul, as opposed to, and I'm not sure if I have this right, but usually I'm asking for support or help or whatever from my archangels and the universe and so forth. So I thought it was interesting. And they said, if you really listen afterwards, you'll get an answer. And I was like, oh, I don't know. So I'm going to try it. And I did. I asked a question that I kind of stopped talking about my sleep and restlessness, this sleep that, I've never used an alarm clock. So I always used to talk about insomnia. I decided a couple of years ago, it is what it is, and I'm not going to focus on that. So anyway, the self-inquiry I asked was, why do I have such, I forget what it was. Why don't I sleep deeply? And why is it restless? And instantly, not only just like the thought came so strong and so in a visualized way as well. And I was very surprised because I think it's on subconscious level that I still was hanging on to this, because consciously I feel like I have, just totally mastered it, forgive it, all this good, yummy stuff. So it was kind of surprising to me that came so strong. So then I was like thinking, well, what do I do now? What's the next step to take? And then I remembered that now that I've asked, I've received the answer. Now I felt like I should just let go and let spirit in the universe will like take care of it. However, so that's how kind of I left it, and it felt pretty good. Then, like, not that night, but the next night. So the past 3 nights, I've had like these dreams that were very, like, I felt vivid at the time, but now I can't recollect, but I know the topic, and it was all about, it was like lists of like love, relationships, beauty. It was
So
just.
you want the ladies to help interpret the dreams that you're having?
Yeah, like what is.
So Tanys, I don't mean to cut you off, but just for time, I just wanted to help clarify your question. So Tanys, Michelle, or Renata, would one of you like to respond?
Tanys, I think
about her dreams.
Tanys feels like
I
want to take this one.
I do. I want to take this one. Okay. So emerging into grace. So what it means is that you're landing on another step in your spiritual journey. So you're emerging into that grace period, which means that you're coming into power, into your personal power, right? And you're learning to cherish self and proceed softly. So that's what the cards have to say. For me, I also was getting that really it's the love thing. That's them teaching, and they're giving you tools. They're giving you like all the love messages. It's really about giving you a master key, because that's one of your superpowers, is really bringing love into the world. And so they're really just giving you that information in a more concrete way for you, so that you understand what's coming through. But really it's about the energy that's coming in, not the actual list. They're just kind of giving you hints on the list, but you're really getting like a download of information that is at that high love vibration, because you're having a download of an upgrade right now. So you're emerging into that self-power at the moment. So that's what I would say about it.
I find dreams are so powerful and so telling. And I think, Dawn, I don't know if you have a little journal by your nightstand to record your dreams, but I find that that's a good thing to do, just because sometimes you forget them later on in the day.
That's a great idea. I keep a journal because other projects that I'm working on, I get ideas.
Just wake up and write.
There we go.
Dreams.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on. I hope that was helpful. Rochelle wants to know, hold on, I'm scrolling down to Rochelle. Okay, she would like a card pulled. Her energy and motivation has been a bit low, and she could use some support and encouragement. We're sending you good vibes. See
if I can get my camera to work here. There we go. Okay. And this is for Rochelle?
Yes.
Okay, Rochelle. I love all the charts and stuff behind you. You're like me, you like lists.
I was working with a client earlier, so I like working with flip charts.
So your main question is?
My energy's kind of low. My motivation's kind of low. I feel like I'm sort of like in a bit of a rut, which isn't normally like me. So I can use like a card of encouragement, or which angel should I call upon that can kind of like shake things up a little bit.
Well, I know Tanys is going to know what angel. I immediately got Archangel Michael, because the card I picked for you is the protector. Okay. And he is an excellent protector. He will clear a room. Okay. And you need to surround yourself with people who lift you up, accept you as you are, and believe in your vision and in your purpose, because these are the people that are going to bring out the very best in you. And that's what you're doing here tonight, because we all support you and love what you're doing and appreciate the work that you're doing as well. So doing that, continuing to be in these groups is really going to be helpful. And the appearance of the protector is a reminder to examine the mask you present to the world and make sure that it's accurately reflecting who you are and not who you used to be or who you think you ought to be. So when you're faced with a challenge, you are going to protect your right to be you from those for the same reason, have trouble understanding you. Or it may be you who is being called upon to allow someone else to be who they truly are now. But what I'm getting is take the mask off, don't care what other people say or think about you, and surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up and your amazing work that you're doing. And that's really going to help you get through that rut, because having someone else step into the picture, especially a group of people come in and tell you all of these amazing positive things about yourself and point out all the accomplishments that you have done, really can put some wind beneath your wings. And I feel like that's what you need in your life right now, because we live in a dark place and it's hard to get. And if you're working with light, it's hard to get through. And I will go to my deck here, my Ascended Masters deck, and see if I can find a guide for you moving forward, because you asked about that. Oh, that's clear. Oh, Commander Ashtar. Holy cow. Okay, Tanys can tell you all about this guy. Okay, he's really cute too.
Well, you met him, Michelle. You saw him.
What is it, Commander?
I did.
who?
He was at your Commander Ashtar. And call to action: take charge, lead by example, walk the talk. Remember what I said? Just be you. Take the mask. Don't worry about putting a mask on for anybody else. Be you as you move forward, because you've done the work. You've done the inner work. Show the world who you are. And I'm going to let Tanys take over, because she actually personally knows this guy. I saw her in a vision with him. Okay, so.
I work with galactic beings a lot. So he comes and visits me. And he's really, what he is the commander of the Galactic Federation in the area. And so he watches over the galactic beings that are here as benevolent beings in another dimension. They're not physical. And they help to watch over the earth and all of us. And so they're very benevolent, and he is lovely. He does command that respect, but in a very compassionate way. And he's very Palladian, and he's lovely. He's great to work with.
Thank you.
I know we're strapped for time. Just real quick, the medical intuitive in me just wanted to mention to you, Rochelle, throat chakra, spine. Throat chakra and spine. I would highly recommend you get some healing done on those areas, because that's what I'm getting as some areas that require attention. I pinned you for a second just so I could zero in a little bit. I'm getting a lot of throat stuff and a lot of stuff down your spine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renata, Michelle, and Tanys. Okay, Jacqueline Richards, welcome. You wrote, such a groovy day, just looking for a blanket thought. Let's unmute you if you can explain more about what you would like, what question you have, or you just want a card pulled, I'm understanding. I'm having trouble unmuting Lauren. There we go. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hi. Just a card, just a thought about what could be next. I mean, it's the second day of this month. And I thought, well, why not? Just an open thought.
Okay, that's a good one.
Okay.
One thing for you, Jacqueline.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know one thing for you, Jacqueline. I see you teaching us a class on Saturday mornings.
Oh.
Hey.
She's one of the teachers at the Twillo Lifestyle Academy. So anyway.
That's right. Oh, she joined us. That's right.
She's on the teachers group. Yeah. She teaches yoga with us on Saturday mornings.
Maybe one of the other ladies would like to.
Yes, I'll go.
Exactly.
Okay, you can't make, dude, you cannot make this stuff up. Like I literally, so I was intuitively reading something about you and then I just pulled a card and it said exactly what I was intuitively picking up on. Kind-hearted. I was just immediately, as soon as I like saw you, Jacqueline, I got this overwhelming feeling of warmth and just caring and just really caring for other beings. And so that's the card that I got here. And there's a lot of nature stuff in here as well. A lot of like there's a tree and animals and flowers. And so I feel like you're just that's so representative of who you are. And like I feel like you have many lifetimes where you really have gone out of your way for other people and you've done so many things, so many kind things for other people. But I feel like again, it's a good time to be reminded that you are just as valuable as everybody else that you've taken care of, right? And so you have to try and turn that attention onto yourself as well and make sure that you're taking good care of yourself, because you can serve others the best way by serving yourself first. And all of us are still in the process of kind of learning that lesson. Every single one of us here probably. We've been through this, been there, done that. I don't know why, but I got this card and it feels significant to me. This is the Aurora Garden and it says beginning, basically initiation, origin. It feels like a really good time for you to step into something new, a new project. And I don't know if this teaching thing is it, but it feels like it's a very good time for you to step into something new and to shift gears a little bit because you're ready. Okay. I feel like just intuitively you are opening up to some of these things. And so right now, energetically, and there's a lot of energy in this card. In fact, like the Aurora Borealis here is in the background.
Yes.
And there's a statue here that I'm not sure what the significance. It feels like it's from one of the other planets, Tanys. I don't know if you can see it over here, but it's just, there's some kind of significance here, some connection to, you can't really see all the details here, but.
Yeah, that's angelic because it's got the harp there, right? It's like a harp.
Is it a harp? It seems like it might be a harp or something else. It looks a little bit different.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Could be goddess. Could be goddess because
like
that is kind of reminiscent of the crystal city of light, right? And the ascended master. So it's kind of like that, I think.
Yeah.
That's where the goddesses from the different pantheons and the gods and stuff are.
Yeah. So I feel like right now is a good time for you to step into something a little bit different. Oh, okay. So I also I'm trying to see if there is any other connection there, but I also got this as a reminder. So the infinite. Okay. While you are very much kind of stepping into, first of all, this is kind of a pattern for you anyway, of you doing this kind of work. You've done a lot of good over the years. I feel like just you have this kind of a long pattern of doing that. But also this is just a reminder that you are infinite. Your energy, your energetic being is infinite. But in your human body, unfortunately, there are some limitations. So you kind of have to just try to shift your perspective a little bit and try to focus back in on yourself and try to take the time that you need for yourself. Give yourself permission to treat yourself and take care of yourself. And that's basically kind of like the importance, I think, of all of this that's coming through, is that you're this wonderful, amazing, very big-hearted person, but you don't necessarily value yourself in the way that you value everybody else. And you don't necessarily take the time out for yourself that you might even recommend to someone else. So this is kind of a reminder for you to do that. All right. But it's also a good time for you to step into something new, which you're already doing. So you're on the right pathway. Did you have any specific questions or anything that like popped up for you as I was saying that?
10's popped up. It's like you're spot on. I'm moving on to a new path. And I made that decision. And it's interesting you said that. And part of it was to take time so that I could get started on the creation.
Okay,
Everything you
wonderful.
said was, I can't believe she read my mind. And I think I was going to swear in there, but I didn't. I was like, I read my mind. Anyway.
That's what we're here for.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I love how you asked it too. Everything's groovy. Like, love that. Thank you for coming, for joining us. Jonathan, do you have a specific question or just to have a card read?
Hi, ladies. So I have a specific question. I am doing a beta program with about 25 people for my organization, and I'm just wondering, one, is there something that I need to prepare for, and two, how's it going to go?
Do we all want to pull quick?
Yeah, let's just all jump in.
Yeah. We have to. And then Jonathan.
And then Jacqueline, really quick, I pulled Ocean for you as far as the Ascended Masters, because you were mentioning Ascended Masters. And Ocean is a beautiful, beautiful goddess. She's the goddess of love and beauty. Beyonce's been identifying with her for years. And in, I think it's Yoruba cosmology, I think it's in southwestern Nigeria. She is the goddess of love, sensuality, and femininity. She's also a river goddess, and one of her attributes is bringing forth sweet and fertile waters. So she is with you.
I love that because he joins us on Grateful Goddesses, and a goddess is by his side.
Oh, that was for Jacqueline.
That was
Jacqueline. That was for Jacqueline's. Ocean is Jacqueline's goddess.
And that's okay.
I'll take a goddess by my side. I'm good with that.
I'll pull one for you too, Jonathan.
I'm not going to complain. Sign me up.
Do you want me to go ahead, Renata?
Yeah, go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah. So Jonathan, I got that you're a bridge mender. So you're mending bridges. You see both sides. You see the face on either side. You see both sides of things. And so when you're with your program, you know, there's going to be things that are going to come in and you're going to bridge them. You're going to see both sides of the issue and then make a balanced decision, because there's a lot of balance in this. You can see one side is very, one side is like fall and the other side is more summery in this picture, which are, they like balance the different sides of the year, the times of the year. And so there's a lot of balance in what you're doing, and that you are bringing healing and mending. And I think you and I have actually, I kind of chuckled when I got this, because I think you and I have talked about you being a bridge. Yeah. And so I was chuckling about that one when it came up. So yeah, so I definitely think it's supporting your mission. And so you're on the right track with that.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you so much. By the way, Jonathan is doing something really remarkable. Do you want to just share in like 3 sentences or less what you're doing?
No pressure.
Yeah, so my organization believes that empowering officers to find peace inside the uniform will create a transformation inside them that'll have a ripple effect out to the communities that they serve. So we've developed a clinical, a development, and a leadership curriculum for police officers specifically to go through to develop them as human in spirit.
Awesome. Amazing.
Awesome
Thank
sauce.
you so
Okay, Jonathan,
okay,
just real quick, just I wanted to pull like a few cards real quick. We'll run through real fast.
You don't have to be quick. Here's the last question, unless someone else wants to pop a question up on the screen. Otherwise, take your time answering.
Okay, Jonathan. Awesome. You shouldn't tell me with that. Don't tell me to take my time. Michelle can tell you what happened.
She'll go forever, right?
Yeah, go forever. I have no.
Give them a sample, not the whole pie.
Be nice. Yeah.
I'm not. I was not being nice, but the thing, but it's not so
nice. No,
to
me.
Michelle.
I'm talking about to me.
I know. I am being nice to you. Nice. But yeah, poor Michelle has to always be like, all right, come on, let's go. See, I always feel like when I start doing the reading, I'm completely disconnected from the concept of human time. Like Tanys and I talk about this a lot, just totally not cognizant of it. But anyway.
That's why I'm here to get us on track. So
yes, Karen, you're amazing. You're an amazing host. You have an amazing sense of timing. Okay,
Thank you.
Jonathan, the first thing that I got for you is this one. And I recall that I pulled this kind of card for you before. I've given you this advice. So this is popping up again. The gift of connection. I feel like on this mission, on this journey, the most important thing is your network, right? So like the people, your community, the community of people you have around you who are there helping you, because this is a humongous undertaking, right? So you need to have the right people on your side helping you along and supporting you along the way, because this is just too grand, right? Like that's just required. So Spirit is just reminding you. I got this transparency card, and it says honest, authentic, genuine presence. So I feel like it's important for you to be, when you're working with these people, I mean, I think you're good at being honest with yourself, and you've done a lot of work on yourself. So you're good at like not sugarcoating stuff with yourself, but sometimes it's a little hard when you're working with other people to just be really, really honest about how you're feeling and what, like in the moment, especially when you're kind of concerned it might hurt their feelings, or, you know, they might feel like, oh, maybe they're not doing as good a job as they thought they were. So you kind of need to push past that. All right. And you can find, I mean, you're a nice guy. So I'm sure, you know, you can find a way to be genuine without being abrasive, basically. And looky here, like Tanys said, right? Balanced forces. This is a really important one for you. This is from the Lemurian deck, and that popped up for you, the first one. So staying in balance. I feel like, okay, that's what's coming through for you. So I feel like what's really important here is that you don't get sort of sucked into the undertow of this whole thing, because this project is so big that it's easy to get lost, to lose yourself in it, right? So you have to keep checking back in with yourself while you're going through it, so that you don't get, it's like a black hole basically, right? So it can kind of eat you alive if you let it. So this is just Spirit reminding you that you still need to take time out to take care of yourself too. I guess that's the theme of the night, is that you really need to take a step back every once in a while, kind of put it away, make sure that you replenish yourself, and then step back into it. Okay. Don't just keep going like nonstop, like, because it's too easy, right? Like we get so caught up. I was just telling Tanys, when you have a 9-to-5, or when you have a job, or sometimes even when you just have a project, you get sucked into this very like 3D human world sometimes, and you get into this like routine, and you almost forget, it's easy to forget like the higher dimension stuff that's driving this whole thing in the first place, right? It's easy to kind of disconnect from that when you're so focused, like that tunnel vision, and you have this goal in front of you. So it's good to take a step back every once in a while and just kind of reconnect back to that higher level. Like, just, you know, keep reminding yourself, keep going back to it. Again, Michelle talked about journaling. I know that you do some of that already, but it's always good to do that. It's always good to talk to others about this and reconnect back into your heart and remind yourself, hey, this is like truly a calling. Okay. And then I think I just have one more card.
Thank you, Renata. So just with a few minutes left, we had the question from Rochelle, and I think it's so excellent. I didn't even think about it. Today is 2/2/22, right? February 2nd, 2022. Is there any significance about that?
Well, there's an energetic portal on days like this. So it's we just passed the Imbolc and a new moon, and so the 2/2/2, it's all about the ascended masters being with you. And so the portal right now is really encouraging us all to write down what energy we want to bring in. And I say write down because it's a way to engage thought and do. Write down what it is you want to bring into your life in terms of qualities of energy. Okay. And today would be an awesome day to do that. Just light a little candle there, have a little glass of water with you, and, you know, have your 4 elements in front of you, sit down with a pen and just write out the qualities of energy you'd like to bring in right now. because it's definitely like that new beginnings time of year.
Write down the qualities of energies that you would like to bring in. So I would like to bring in positivity, health. Is health an energy?
Yeah.
Abundance,
Vitality would be an energy. Peace, calm.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Think
Peace
about the
and calm.
general direction you want to move in. I think is a good one.
Forward.
Even
Always moving
success, you know, whatever that is. But if you're going to bring in
I love
success, bring in, bring in a few other adjectives, because success for one person is different from success for another. So that's the one thing about when we're asking the guides for help, we want to be really specific in terms of that.
That's what I was just going to say with ending the show, was asking the guides to be very specific. So everyone right now, just think in your mind, what do you want to ask the guides? After the show, say it aloud, and hopefully the guides will hear you. And I want to thank Tanys, Michelle, and Renata. You guys have been frozen the entire show for me. Apparently, I've been so that's okay. Everyone had a beautiful face being frozen, and I so appreciate you all being here tonight. And next week, we're going to have Cheryl Sloane. She is the goddess of sex, and any type of questions you have, males are invited to come, because as last time we did breakout rooms with males only and women only. And Cheryl, however, was in the male room for the whole time of their questions. So I'm going to be better at dividing up the timing. But please
That
don't
sounds like fun,
It's
though.
right before. What's that?
That sounds like fun, though.
It's so much fun. We started out the talk just with everyone, and then some people have more personal related questions to their gender. So if you identify as male, join the male room. If you identify as female, join the female room. And looking forward to that. I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you, Donna, and everyone for coming. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, ladies. Good night.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.
I was going to say that everyone needs like a pocket Tanys